Okay, so we're jumping into something because someone here, we're not going to mention names, did something, and they now have to correct it. Ha ha ha. So
Someone
we're
did
going to talk about
something
what to do.
Among
Yeah,
Us.
kids that day. Okay,
so
so
mysterious.
okay, so okay, so we're going to be
Someone
talking about
Among
what to
Us.
do if you've had an accident. And we're doing this not because anyone bumped anything or anything like that. This is just a discussion.
Mhm.
So
Or
we are
you did,
doing
or
a
did
quick
we?
cards casually with Paolo, with Nix, with G, and with Chris, and with me, Carl. Apparently, I forgot to mention myself again. And we're going to talk about what to do quickly. What if you've had a sudden accident and you don't have someone like us to call? Um, what do you do? And the person who we were talking with, let's start with Paolo. Give us an example of what might happen, and then let's throw it to Nix to explain what we should do.
Yeah. So for example, you hit a truck, like you were distracted.
For
Just
example,
saying.
just
Just
saying
Oh,
Yep.
you hit a truck.
Just saying.
Okay. So you rear end the truck like a delivery truck, right? And then what do you do? Like, do you go that? Do you get out of the car? Do you stay in the car? Do you wait for an enforcer?
right here.
And
So
the big question is, how do you file a police report? Because I've never been in an accident like that, so I don't know how it works.
Asking
good.
for a
Number-
friend. Asking for a friend.
My friend.
Quick point before we get into the whole police report thing. I want to address one thing. Do you get out of the car?
Oh yeah, especially these days. That's
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
We are. You have to assess that on your own. My first reaction is don't get out of that car. Don't unlock it until you've made a proper assessment. That goes counter to what I have done, which is get out of the car screaming mad. Not a good thing to do.
No,
And we all
it's
do
a
that.
Natural, no, but it's a
Mm.
natural reaction.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nat-
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Especially, I mean, the way we react is one thing. The way we want our kids to react, our wives to react, that's another thing. We don't want them to get out of that car. They can scream all they want. Don't get out of the car until you're comfortable, until you've made a
Depends
phone
on
call.
the environment, I guess.
Yes.
You know.
So-
Correct. Okay.
So
Having
what I-
said that, first thing to do, don't get overwhelmed. Assess the situation.
That's the first.
It's very, very possible that, okay, in your case, it would have been, if your example is that you bumped someone else. What if someone bumped you?
Oh yeah.
Very easy that was something to do. Look
Look
behind you.
Yeah.
Look in front of you. See who's around you. Are there people waiting for you to get out of that car? All right. Okay. Having said that, the actual point of this discussion was what to do about the question was the police report. And Nick's made some very, very good points, which we are going to bring up now. Nick's, go.
I'm not no, but just to reiterate and to emphasize that the first and foremost thing is to stay calm. Especially when you get hit, because the natural reaction is to react to it. So
Panic.
yeah, but because from here it sets the tone of what you're going to do.
Yes.
So the first thing you should do is to stay calm, and then like what Carl said, to assess the area. Because what if you're in the middle of nowhere and you get hit, and it's dark? Don't just go out. Like I'd rather stay inside the car in that situation and then just count my losses. But like for the city, like this kind of scenario, assess the situation, and then once you go out, ask the other party if they're okay. And because you want to get the response that yes, like none of them are hurt, they're okay. Because sometimes later on they can lie to the police. So you want to get like at least a verbal confirmation that they're okay. And then after that, this is the most critical parts, to get as much information as you can. So most of us have cell phones. This is where you should take as many angles of like the accident. So side view, front view, rear view, top view, view from wherever. As many photos. You can't have too many photos. As many photos as you can. Up close, up far. And then after that, especially if you have a piece of paper, like a receipt, or like, this is why I tell people, leave a sheet of paper and a pen in your glove compartment, because this is where you're going to draw the accident. So just the same thing, all the details that you can get. So like the street names, the distances, if there are any traffic lights, where they are, any CCTVs, get as much information as you can. And then if there's a traffic enforcer or a police officer there, then they will lead you to the closest precinct. If not, then Google where the closest police precinct is, and then tell the other party that after getting all the info that you will go there to file a police report. Because aside from a hit and run, everyone involved have to go together because you'll all fill it up at the same time. So when you arrive at the police station, then you go to the concierge and then you tell them, oh, filing a police report for a or for an accident in general. They have a form for that already. So you just follow the instructions. They'll tell you to fill it up, like your name, your address, telephone number, cell phone number, email, and then there'll be a portion there where you're gonna have to to write down what happened in your point of view. So when you
So
write that, just yes,
do
Chris.
do both parties have to write down a police report or file a police report?
Yes, no, you both will. Because
What if they're conflicting? What if
No,
they're
no.
conflicting points of
no,
view?
no, that's
That's the
no,
thing.
that's why you have the photos, and that's why to get ahead of the situation, you draw it, write down all the details you have,
What if he
because
also
when they
draws it in a different way, and that favors him?
no, then the arbiter's the police officer. So you have to remember you're dealing with the police officer. If
Okay,
the
so
police officer for example, let's say I'm the police officer, and then let's say Chris, you hit Paulo, diba? Let's say you hit Paulo, but you have like a lot of information that shows that Paulo might have been the one doing the error. Na like you wrote there, Paulo suddenly stopped abruptly in the middle of the road, 20 meters away from the intersection,
Yeah.
from the street. As the police officer, I give you the benefit na, oh, it wasn't your fault, it was Paulo's fault. So that's the importance of having as much information as you can. Because at the end of it, the police officer will decide whose fault it is.
but what if it wasn't Paolo's fault? What if it was you, and you're just saying it was Paolo's fault?
No, that's why it will boil down to the police officer and the information he has from both sides. It's kind of like a baby court case.
Wow.
Well, remember,
Yes.
they have to. If the policeman wasn't there, he has to go by what you say, and
And what the other has to
you
say.
may be right or wrong, but he's going to give you the same level of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He has to assess that.
And
So,
usually naman it's fair. It's a fair decision. But sometimes like my first accident, I was hit by a jeepney.
Okay.
No, and the thing was, it was a certain accident that if you look at it out of context, it looks like my fault. But if you look at it in context, it was his fault. But because I presented all the information, and then later on we were able to get CCTV footage of what actually happened. But even without the CCTV footage, like the policeman was hearing the details. He knew that I didn't do the accident. It was the jeepney driver. And ironically, his last name was Mabait. But going back, that's why I can't forget that accident.
Okay.
That's why I can't forget that accident. But going back, because I gave all the info, and then even the scuff marks, I took picture of the scuff marks. You can tell that the jeepney dragged. It wasn't me hitting the jeep. The jeepney dragged on into it. So yun. So like to boil it down, information is key. So stay calm so that you can then get all the information you need. Because it can help you,
And-
especially if you're the right.
At what point does the insurance company get involved?
You need the police report because the insurance company will be judging, is this insurable? Because
Yeah, that's
depending on the
their-
accident, yes.
That's their affidavit to
Mhm.
base,
Yes.
what the claims and all. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
But I have a
with
question
that-
with regards
okay,
to
yes.
insurance. So if
Okay.
if the accident is clearly your fault, you can't get insurance.
you
Uh,
can, but
Depends on the insurance, the
Yeah.
insurance package.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
it
it
depends on the
depends.
insurance package, yeah. Because there are more premium insurances that even if it's your accident, like it will be repaired.
Okay.
But most insurances you have to double check because the most insurances they won't claim for that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's
remember,
always been a
insurance is a
question I have.
contract. Okay, it's a contract, and each one of them will have their own contract written up the way they
Yes.
believe it should work. So it's
Oo.
really basically depending on the company and the agent you may have. That's why a lot of
Yes.
people actually like working through insurance agents because the agent has a
Oh yeah.
vested interest in keeping you as a client for other things,
Mm. Yep.
Yes,
as opposed
that
to
is
just a big
true.
faceless company. So
Yeah, that is so true. Be friends with your agent. It helps a lot.
yeah,
It
and,
helps.
and different companies have different attitudes. Some are just like, we're done here, sign off, go. We'll leave you alone. Others are
Yeah.
like, no, we're gonna fight over every little thing. It really
Yeah.
comes down to who you're comfortable with,
Yeah.
which you won't find out until after you have an accident, unfortunately.
Okay.
Hopefully, I don't have to go through that because in my how many years of driving, I think 10
Guys,
years.
it's not Paolo.
In my 10 years of driving, the only car I hit is our own car in the garage. So my parents were really pissed
Okay.
about that. Yeah, that's the only time I hit another car.
Okay, so basically, what you're admitting to is being completely faultless, except for. Never mind. Okay. Okay. No. Okay. So what have we come up with? Basically, our first thing is be calm. If
That's
you've
the
had an
most
accident,
important.
well,
That's the
okay.
most important.
Let's we have a standard operating procedure within C within our group,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
first thing is check yourself, check those responsible for, and then report upwards. And that's been our standing procedure for
Yeah.
any kind of disaster,
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
kind of accident.
Yeah.
Same thing applies here. If you
Oh,
if you are bumped, first thing is check yourself, calm down, lock your doors. Okay, assess the situation, see what's going on. Are you surrounded by an old lady who made a mistake? Or are you surrounded by a bunch of jeepneys? And trust me, the jeepneys will gang up on you.
Oh,
Oh,
they
yeah.
will. No,
Jeepneys,
they
taxis,
will.
and yeah.
They
It's a
can and they
natural.
will.
It's not even a necessarily evil thing. It's just natural because they feel they're, a pay or
Have to
kawawa or
defend
whatever, and they
their
will
own
defend
kind.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
Here's
Nothing
another
against
one.
them.
Bikes now, all of a sudden, if a bike falls, you're going to have
Oh, yeah.
25 bikers around you.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
I've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
And that's a very okay. What I tell people is, okay, if you have an accident and you're not comfortable, honestly, I'm
Stay in
like,
the car.
drive off to a police station, drive off to a military installation, drive off to a mall,
Yes. Yeah.
drive off
Mm.
somewhere. If anyone says you left the scene of the crime, we will defend the hell out of that, saying,
Yeah,
you know
kasi
what, go somewhere safe first. That is the first thing you got to do.
Mm.
it just takes
Yep.
one more person to gang up on you. So that's a good advice also.
Yeah.
If you really
Uh,
feel like you'll be ganged up,
Oh yeah,
don't risk it.
how do you not make that a hit and run though? If you
Doesn't
just
matter because at that point you're not concerned about the legality. You're concerned about being
Your safety. And
Safety,
by law,
right.
safety is like trumps a lot of things.
Yeah. I'd rather defend you alive than dead, right? So
Yeah.
there.
That's
That's
true.
true.
That's true.
And then if there are any kid like the ones with parentals, like you're using your parents' car or something, the first thing you should do is inform your parents. I know it sounds scary, like they'll get mad at you, but it's like I'm talking to my past self, no? But yeah, like but inform the parents first,
Dear
because
past
one it's their car, but then second they might actually be able to help you. It's like I'm talking to my past self.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dear young
Yeah.
Okay.
Dear young
Okay.
Mix, I am in a podcast right now.
Okay, but the second point after that was very, very important. Far more important than I thought it was, which was document everything. Even the drawing thing makes sense because they're going to
Yes,
ask you to do it.
Oh,
They have
yeah.
to get it right.
Because by the time you reach the police station, you already there was a test done to it. You lose already 20% of the information.
Mhm.
So
cool.
right
And
away.
of course, I mean, if you guys can afford it, a dash cam would be fantastic, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
really good.
yeah.
I'll say
Your
one
car-
thing. The dash cams can also work against you.
If it's your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's your
No. It's just something to be aware of because people, maybe not in the Philippines, but overseas, people have been busted by dash cam footage if it's requisitioned by the police. as an example.
Mhm.
So it's a double. I mean, this is the whole Big Brother thing, right? But it depends. I think I like dash cams. I dislike the fact that they mess with your vision, but that can be addressed. So,
Yeah.
Mm.
but there,
So
yeah.
the next step there, information, and then after that, file the police report. Then file the police report, which will guide you naman.
Yeah, there's a and we've lived through a lot of changes in organizations in the Philippines, and one of them is a change in the organization of the police. And I need to say that the modern crop of policemen is in our experience very professional.
Yeah, they are.
Mm.
They're smooth, they're clean, they're good at what they do. If you go in there with the attitude that you're going to be taken advantage of, don't, because that's how you're going to see things. Don't go in thinking being wimpy about it either. But
Yeah.
in general,
Respect.
they're human beings. They have families. They're just
The way I put
and-
it, respectful but assertive.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because
being
they're also,
respectful to
they're also
anybody.
having a long day. They're also having a long day of their own.
Yeah.
So
So there. This is a really good point, and we should actually have a whole nother discussion on what to do. Let's have a discussion on insurance. Let's do that next time.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
for this one right
Actually,
now, basically that's the thing. Keep calm. Document what you can. Call your parents. Have the cars casually. What to do in an accident episode queued up on your phone immediately.
oh,
Yeah.
but so
Okay,
funny
so-
it will actually be used now. Like someone gets into an accident, then we go to the C podcast.
This is what we did. This is what he told me. This is a guy who told me to do this. I ran away from you because this guy said so. Like, oh, okay.
Oh, we have to
I'm gonna.
Okay, so we're not recording this anymore. Okay, no, okay, but there, basically, yeah, we had that quick discussion because someone actually asked this
Yeah.
question, and
Paolo.
not Paulo.
Not me.
So there.
So mysterious person.
Yep.
Oh,
Anonymous.
okay.
Mysterious
Anonymous.
person.
Okay. So
It's like the game of Among Us.
okay. Okay. So, which I actually know what that is. But anyway, okay. Okay. So thank you very much for joining us on this somewhat short little chat about what to do if you get bumped or you bump someone. And we will go into this more about things like insurance and checking your car and so on. But the key point is be safe, check your environment, record your environment, and be polite to anybody.
Polite.
I've had people burst into tears. I've had two older ladies burst into tears, and I'm like, So anyway, but it happens. Okay. So anyway, all these stories. Thank you very, very much, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This has been Paulo with the questions, but not his. This has been Nix with the answers. This has been Chris with jokes. This has been G who said, "Haha, I'm not driving. It's all your problems." This is Carl, thank you very, very much for joining us. Join us again on video, on screen, on Spotify, wherever we are. There we are. Thank you very, very much. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.